Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of Evolutionary.org podcast. This is your host, Steve Smi, with my interim co-host, Ricky V. How's it going, buddy?
Hey, great, Steve. How you doing, buddy? How you doing, guys?
Guys, we appreciate you guys listening to this again. So we promised you guys we'd have call-ins, and this is going to be the first one we have. We're going to open up the phone lines, and we're going to get one caller in for this episode, and the next one we're going to have a lot more callers. So let's try it out. We have a caller that comes in. He has a 321 number. So how you doing, buddy? Can you hear me?
Hi guys, how you doing today?
Evolutionary Radio. So what's up? What's going on? What's your question?
Yeah, so I was just wondering, I'm a active CrossFit athlete, I guess, and I do CrossFit pretty heavy, about 6 days a week. And so I wanted to know, if there's some, good steroids that I would be able to use that would help me both, not just with strength, but also cardiovascular.
Okay. So let me ask you, I'm assuming you worked out today because you work out 6 times a week. What did you do today, and how, did you do running? Did you do cleans? What did you do exactly today?
Yeah. So today's workout consisted of actually a lot of different things, but so we started out with there was of course a warm up, and then we started out with we did pull-ups, and we used whatever dumbbell or weight you could use, and we did a set of so it was 3 rep max of the heaviest weight you could on pull-ups, strict pull-ups, and it was times 5 rounds. So 5 sets of 3 at the same weight of a heavy strict pull-up for 3 reps. So that was the first part of the workout. So I did a weight vest, and I wore a 40-pound vest, and I did my 5 sets of 3 at 40 pounds. So 40-pound weighted strict pull-ups. And then for the other part of the workout was, it was actually, so there was a 200-meter run, and then every minute there was something else. So there was a minute where you had to run a 200-meter run within the minute. When you got back, you have one minute to do 15 box jumps, and then you have another minute to do it's 15 so ring rows, and then you run back for another minute. So the whole workout was 21 minutes long, and it was running, ring rows, bent over rows, and box jumps, and the last one was so ring rows, and then strict pull-ups. I'm sorry. So there was 7 strict pull-ups. So all in all, there was a lot of pull-ups, running, bent over rows, all using dumbbells, and then there was weighted pull-ups. That was what today consisted of.
All right. And typically you do a lot of clean and jerks and stuff like that too, right?
Yeah. So we do a lot of weightlifting. We do clean and jerks, and also Olympic weightlifting snatches. We do deadlifts. We do powerlifting.
Excellent.
Things like that.
A couple questions I got for you. Do you are you looking to compete, or are you competing in the sport, or do you just do it for fun?
I actually I do competitions once in a while. I do it for fun as well as just competing, to just be better every day, So I kind of say it's just competing for life, but yeah, that's generally why I do it. But I do want to get better, and that's kind of why, I had a couple questions, what would be a good steroid that I could use to help me get
Have you used
stronger.
anything before? Have you used any steroids at all?
I've used when I was 20, in my early 20s, I did Deca. And I haven't, and that was when I was just doing regular bodybuilding a little bit more. I wasn't doing any kind of CrossFit. So now that I'm doing CrossFit and it's more sports specific, I wanted to see if there's something that could help me with cardiovascular as well.
Right. Yeah. There's, when it comes to CrossFit, and I went through this with martial arts, there's more stuff that you got to stay away from, in my opinion, than will help. anything that won't
Mhm.
hurt as far as steroids go will usually help. I would
Mhm.
personally, off the bat, I got shin splints, really bad shin splints from taking testosterone. From taking
Mhm.
trenbolone. Gave me very
Mhm.
bad shin splints for kickboxing, and also I got really
Mhm.
bad back pumps from Dianabol.
Okay.
And also tren will mess with your cardiovascular. So those are two things that probably stay away from off the bat.
Okay. Okay.
How is
Now,
your availability of
have you
budget for?
ever?
Go ahead.
I'm sorry. Go ahead. What were you gonna say? Availability.
Can you get, or could you budget to use like good human grade HGH, human growth hormone?
Yeah, I don't think I think that's probably the best thing for me.
Yeah,
It's just too expensive to it's
right.
too expensive to come by, you know. It's just the price is almost you know, even if you're, you know, you have to be, you know, just an unlimited
It's tough.
amount of money to be able to, to be able to stay on a cycle of something like that. So I was wondering, have you guys heard anything about SARMs?
Quite a lot, yeah.
Because I've heard that it's a big known drug, I guess, or whatever. I'm sorry,
Is that what you guys
steroid.
talk about in the CrossFit? Like a lot of people talk about SARMs.
Yeah, what
Yeah,
do
people
guys in the
talk about
CrossFit gyms
SARMs.
talk about? Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
curious
we
about
do.
that.
We actually do talk about SARMs because there's CrossFit athletes that compete in the sport that do it at an elite level that get busted for SARMs. So I wanted to know, is that something that would be beneficial to just us regular athletes? You know.
I would, my opinion on SARMs is I've tried them. I definitely
Mhm.
love the way I feel on GW for bike
Yeah.
riding, for just jiu-jitsu, for anything. It's just great.
Mhm.
The only reason I don't use them more often, and even though I get almost no noticeable side effects using some of this stuff, is because they haven't been around that long. Everything else, you know,
Okay.
every other steroids have been around 40, 30 years. I mean, it's
Yeah.
60, some of them. There's plenty of info about them. As far as
Yeah.
SARMs, they're fairly new to the market. I've
Right.
had really good experiences with some of this stuff, but I think long term, may not be something that I'm not competing. I'm not really getting to those levels. I'm about to hit 40. So for me, it's not the best choice. But so
Right.
far, I haven't heard anybody have any real issues with SARMs. And the guys that are using it, the side effects they report are nothing compared to just your regular testosterone and Deca cycle. So
Okay.
as long as
All
you
right.
you
Great.
understand that end of it, that there isn't a lot of research about it, I think you'll find that everybody that gets their hands on good SARMs, legit stuff, they're pretty happy with it.
So after you left the workout today, like how did you feel? Were you like tired? Did you feel like you didn't have endurance during your workout? Do you feel like the strength is lagging?
Actually, today I felt actually really, I don't know. Today I felt good because I did take like a rest day yesterday. Oh no, I'm sorry. Yesterday I worked out, but the day before I was off. So today for some reason I just felt really good. Yeah, I think it depends on like, you know, how my diet is, you know, during the day, because I also have a job where I, you know, sit, you know, all day long. So it kind of depends on how I feel in the evenings.
Yeah, I think.
But I felt good after the workout today, even though there was a lot of different components to it. The running, I think, helped, you know, kind of opened it up. So
I think in your case, if I was in your situation, what I would probably do is just get on a little bit of testosterone, start off with that.
mhm.
And you know, I don't know how you feel about the SARMs, but I mean, for your situation, GW would be a good fit if you're okay with it. And
Okay.
everything else
And
is
then
much
so testosterone meaning like what, like pills
proper.
or
Well, you know, if you get a script from a doc so you can get good human grade American stuff, that'd be great. But
okay.
I think even as little as, you know, 200 mgs a week will make a huge difference in your performance if that's what you're looking
Okay.
for. GW
Okay.
definitely, your endurance would definitely improve. I probably wouldn't hit GW just for regular workouts all the time. If,
Mhm.
maybe competition, if that's a situation.
Right. Right.
I usually don't like to tell people to cheat in competitions, but I'm going to make an exception for you today. And Yeah, I mean, at GW.
Yeah, well, I don't consider it cheating either because,
well,
like,
it seems like,
I mean,
like
you're
everybody's on stuff nowadays. It's not. It's tough to argue anymore, but it seems like a lot of guys are on.
yeah, everybody at that level, it seems, are on some sort of different things, and it's not really cheating at that level because, like, you know, like you're still putting in the work. You're just getting a little bit of extra help, which we're mostly, you know, like testosterone deficient and things like that.
Definitely. Well, I don't, you know, other things like, are you doing a good stretch out program? Are you even maybe taking?
Yeah, so we do
side?
like a pretty intense warm up, usually about 15 minutes long. That involves a lot of different stretching and just kind of getting the body warm. So
yeah, I would definitely double down on the stretching, and if you can, either buy one of those nice massage machines, the $600-700 ones, the impact massagers, the new ones that came out. All these
okay,
things are, you know, if have your old lady use it on you, or you could even use it on yourself. Some parts. All these things are great to help your muscles get rid of lactic acid and salts and all these things
right,
that are the real enemy, in my opinion, in CrossFit. I think in CrossFit, being
right,
able to have that endurance to do a ton of repetitions and also the technique, and that's something you pick up definitely as time goes on. You know, that the way you carry something across the field is make a huge difference after, you know, in the competition, your technique on things. I think just
right.
a little bit of testosterone is enough to help with CrossFit and competition. I'd be real afraid of using stuff that's going to make my muscles pump up too much and
Yeah,
then make it an uncomfortable and a painful experience, which is
okay.
what I experienced. Martial arts, Trembolone, Diana Ball, some of the harsher stuff definitely didn't help. It actually was counterproductive. Um,
Okay.
when was the last time you had any kind of steroids or had anything?
I tried some like Dianabol, some just oral supplements. It was probably now it's been over a year or maybe even yeah, probably over a year now. But I did like a couple maybe 30 or 60 days, and then I would just kind of back off. And I did that for a couple times.
Yeah, definitely the essentials. I get essentials. Make sure electrolytes, stretching.
Hmm.
You know, do everything you can to help the muscles get rid of
Hmm.
acid, and just, you know, the essentials, and then the sauce will definitely be an added on. But you've got to have all the essentials first.
Okay. Okay. That's great help. I appreciate that.
What's helped me a lot with endurance, believe it or not, T-bowl. But if you're running long distances, you'll start getting the back pumps, the leg pumps, etc. So it just
Hmm.
depends. If you're running 200 meters, like you said you did today, you should be
Hmm.
okay with T-bowl. But if you're running like over a mile, like when I'm running oral
Hmm.
steroids and I hit that 1 mile mark, that's when the pumps start coming, the back pumps, the calf pumps. It gets really the
Hmm.
shin pumps, all that stuff. So if you're doing short, different little bursts, you'll love T-bowl. Like T-bowl really gives me a boost in my endurance. Another one is EQ, like running 2, 3, 400 milligrams, probably not 400 milligrams, maybe two or
EQ is
three
nice too. Yeah,
hundred,
EQ.
300 milligrams a week won't affect, won't give you pumps. It's not androgenic. It won't strain your heart. It's very mild. And the nice thing about EQ, it raises your red blood cell count, so it gets oxygen moving across the body. And that really gives you a nice boost with your endurance. You'll notice it, like when you're doing endurance, you'll notice a nice strength bump too. So it's a nice, safe, mild steroid to use. So I would personally use EQ and use a little T
Okay.
here and there, as long as you're not doing anything long distance too much. If you're running like over a 3/4 of a mile or a mile, stay away from these oral steroids because the pumps are brutal,
Hmm.
and that will affect your pumps.
Okay.
And I would think like yoga, like hot yoga, would really help your mobility, because a lot of
Hmm.
CrossFit people overtrain their shoulders, they overtrain their back, they overtrain like
Hmm.
their elbows, their knees. They end up with
Hmm.
mobility issues. So the stretching and the yoga will really help give your mobility, their flexibility and your mobility will be very, very strong. And that will counteract a lot of that, so you prevent like injuries. Because a lot of CrossFit people, I'm assuming that the guys that you train with and the girls, they have to do a lot of injuries, right? What are some injuries that you see in CrossFit all the time?
Yeah, a lot of injuries like rotator cuff and
Mm-hmm.
yeah, all kinds of sprains and
Shoulders are huge.
tears.
That's correct.
Shoulders, like I mean, you see, I just about see everything. I've seen elbow. I've seen like, I've seen like mostly shoulders and things like that. Yeah, I mean, if you do a ton of pull-ups over time, it's just gonna, it's gonna rock your rotator cuffs and stuff. So
Definitely don't want to overdo the anti-estrogens with steroids. It's not like
right,
taking steroids for bodybuilding. In CrossFit, you put yourself at a disadvantage and the risk of injury if you don't know what you're doing with anti-estrogens and you lower your estrogen too much. So
right,
definitely you can't overdo it. Matter of fact, a little bit of water retention, I believe, might actually be a little bit beneficial in CrossFit. When it
right.
comes to the big problem or the part where steroids actually are counterproductive, where they give you these muscle pumps, I personally found, because there's a big genetics component to this, that trenbolone, dianabol, the harsh stuff, at any dose will give me pump issues when I'm trying to do endurance activities. Every other steroid, if I go over 400, 500 meg, even just testosterone, I'll have the same effect.
Mm-hmm.
So even with testosterone, I have to keep it under 500 a week, 400 a week, total, anything. Or if I'm doing jujitsu, if I'm doing anything, just holding somebody's lapel, I'll have pumps in my forearms. And then keep that in mind, that increased dosage too much. You will you will run into that issue, even if you're using a steroid that shouldn't do that.
Do you have any other questions, Jeff? You have any other questions?
No, I don't have it anymore at this time. No.
All right, man. Good deal. We'll send you a link to the podcast so you can,
Oh, cool. That'd be great.
You got it, buddy.
All right. Thank you, guys. I appreciate your time.
All right. Have a good one.
Thanks for coming
All
on.
right. Thank you. All right. Bye.
All right, guys. So let's get into our first topic. And that was a great caller, by the way. And we're going to have more callers call in the future. So,
I really enjoyed being able to ask some follow-up questions and get some information from them. That's good.
It really was. I hope you guys learned a lot from that. So we have a question, an email question, and this is a really good one. And this is something we've never talked about on this podcast before, but it kind of ties into a lot of you guys out there. In his case, he said he lifted for 15 years. He started lifting when he was 15 years old. When he was 30 years old, he got busted for selling coke, and he beat up a cop. So they fucking took it, threw his ass in prison for a long ass time. He says he had to do 15 hard years. He got off early on good behavior. And I guess that's what happens when you beat up a cop, right? I mean,
you're beating up a cop. He's level 4, level 5. Yeah. 5. Yeah.
Don't be touching cops. You're going to get a long time. So, but while he was in prison, he didn't have access to a gym. He had to do body weight exercises. And we've all watched those shows, Lock Up and Lock Down, whatever, on TV. And we see how prisoners have to work out. They have to, use, their partner and stuff. And they have to make shit to lift weights and stuff. So he was in the clink for 15 years. He finally gets out, and he's 45 years old now. And he's like, fuck. I don't understand what I'm seeing out there. All these franchise gyms. There used to be one gym in town. Now there's 20 gyms in town. He doesn't know what to do now. He doesn't know what kind of workout program to do. He doesn't know what gym to sign up for. So, this is a really, really good one. And this can apply to anybody. Even if you stop lifting weights for 10, 15 years, or you were in jail for 10, 15 years, this is a really good topic. So Ricky V, let me ask you, what advice can you give to this guy, man? What should he do, first of all, with a gym? What should he look for?
I think even though there are a lot of franchise gyms all over the place, you can still always find those small hardcore gyms. And those are always there. You might have to drive a little bit ways out of the way, but you'll be able to find those gyms. They're out there. And if that's what he's used to and that's what he likes is what he should look for. Definitely having a rap sheet, he probably would want to stay away from steroids and maybe getting in trouble again. So probably a good supplement program is in order too, if he wants to make some good progress, especially at his age. But definitely just Google's your best friend. Just find a gym, and once you find one, you research the name, make sure they're not, thousands of locations wide, and go there. Those I don't really like going to franchise gyms either, unless I want to use the facilities, the jacuzzi or whatever the hell, for whatever reason. But when it comes to, when it comes to gyms, I like my small gyms as well, or I like just working out at home. It's actually great as well.
What I really hate about the franchise gym, Ricky V, I don't know if you've had this problem, is they get you in these stupid contracts. And then once the contract expires, they keep billing you, and you're like, I want to cancel. I want to move on. They keep billing you every month. And then there's these hidden fees, like every 3 months, every 6 months, they like do some stupid $30 or $60 fee, like for gym equipment or something. It's like, they didn't even tell you about it. So that's what I hate about those big franchise gyms. So I agree, man. Find like a meathead gym. Find a gym where you can.
Martial arts schools became like that too the last 10 years, where people sign up and then they put them in collections if they don't pay and stuff like that. It's a membership business game now. And yeah, these big franchise gyms, that's just the way they play. But those small gyms are still out there. They're out there everywhere. If not, just get your own equipment and work out of your garage, man. I mean, I like working out by myself and when I have my equipment. So just do it, man.
So, I mean, workouts, this is what I would suggest to anybody who's been out of the game a while. Stick to the big lifts, the big compound lifts, like, the bench press, the cleans, the deadlifts, the squats, the pull-ups, the push-ups, the dips, big lifts, man. Those are the ones. Those are the cookie. Those are the bread and butter right there. Like those, if you stick to those lifts, if you've been out for a while, you can really build some really good body and muscle memory very, very quick. They'll hit every muscle group in your body. So lunges are another good one. I mean, these are your bread and butter, and these are the ones that everybody should be starting off with the first few years lifting, whether you're a young guy, middle age, older guy, whatever. Instead of going to the gym and standing in front of the mirror doing 10, 15 pound curls, do these, those are the ones that kind of build it. So start off with there and then start developing maybe like a split routine from there. And then you can kind of progress from there. But there's no reason to make this too complicated. Just like get in and build consistency back, and you'll be building muscle in no time.
Yeah, and I guess at the core of his question is just he wants to make progress. Now he's out and he's got the opportunity to get better equipment and really do it. Look, dude, you're 45. Go over to your doctor and get a script for testosterone. Chances are you'll probably get it. Human grade, legal to own and use. And you'll definitely be making some good progress then. So 45 years old, march over to your doctor, get yourself a script, and you get some human grade tests, you'll be good to go.
Yeah, I like it. Blood work is really good because I doubt when you're in prison that they ever tested your reproductive health, so they probably did blood work on other stuff, like if you had some disease or something, but I don't think they tested your testosterone. So it's probably a good idea to test it, because I don't think in prison the kind of food that they give you or the food that you can buy is going to be nutritious. So testosterone levels are probably in the gutter. So that's a good idea.
All right, great.
Next, and then our last question of the day, guys, 500 milligrams a week of testosterone, 500 milligrams a week of Deca. Typical cookie cutter Deca cycle. What are some proper ancillaries to use on cycle in terms of what to do? Because we hear a lot of stories about Deca Dick. We hear a lot of stories about excess estrogen from testosterone. So
you said 500 Deca, 500 test, right?
500. Yeah. Typical cookie cutter run.
What's an old school rule of thumb, I guess, with testosterone and Deca. This is going back 20 years when I started, and I've applied this always. You want to run twice as much testosterone as Deca, and then you don't have to worry about Deca Dick. And if you research it around the forums, it actually works. If you don't want to worry about Deca Dick, you use testosterone with it, twice the amount. That's been my opinion and what I've experienced. I probably then wouldn't do 500. Maybe do 500, 250 if you really want a fairly high dose. 750 mgs of steroids per week is enough for anybody to grow on and make some good progress. Anybody. If you're already a huge guy and already have a ton of mass from using steroids throughout the years, yeah, maybe you might need more than that to make even more progress. But regular guy walking around wants to look good with his shirt off, 750, that's a good amount of juice for you to make some great gains, some great progress on. I would chop the Deca in half, start off with that. And the 500 mgs a test, that'd be real easy to navigate and not have a lot of issues and side effects with. Just a little bit of anti-E. You're good to go. If you got scalp issues, little, Nizzle shampoo, Minoxidil, N2 shampoo, whatever, and you're good to go. It's fairly easy to navigate testosterone side effects. Deca, you get Deca Dick. It's tough. It's not easy, and there isn't a one solution for it. And sometimes it lasts long after you cut the stuff out. So that's my suggestion. Just starting off, just restructuring the cycle form before even adding anything else on, in my opinion.
The thing is with Deca, all nandrolones, they metabolize into dihydronandrolone, which is DHN. So when that happens, that kind of swamps your dihydrotestosterone in the body, DHT, which is our sex hormone. So what I tell people who run Deca, and they've been doing this for years, you ask any of these old school guys in your gym who are in their 50s and 60s how they ran Deca, they'll all say they ran Proviron with Deca, because Proviron is a very, very pure DHT derivative. So that is a great way to combat the Deca Dick. So if you're running a nandrolone, always run Proviron with it on cycle. And I say I'll do this a little different than you, Ricky V. I would let the Deca work the magic on this cycle. I'd run the testosterone low and run the Deca high with 50 milligrams a day of the Proviron, and let the Deca, that mild, low side effect compound that Deca has historically been and has turned into a monster in the past 10 or 15 years. Now everybody is scared of Deca. All these young guys, they want the whole zizzy body of physique, and the aesthetics. But Deca, if you ask anyone in their 50s and 60s, these aren't fat guys in your gym. They're just strong, muscular guys. They'll all say, man, we love Deca. But now ask any 25-year-old or 30-year-old, they'll say, oh, no, we're scared of Deca. So Deca gets such a bad rap because guys, they don't run it correctly. And I think in the 90s and 2000s, when we started on these forums, a lot of people started giving Deca a bad reputation because of the whole Deca Dick thing. But I think the whole libido and erectile dysfunction thing is more of a product of other factors as much as you can blame the Deca for it. Because we've seen every middle-aged man needs Viagra or Cialis just to get it up these days.
Yeah, definitely. There are definitely a lot of other factors that contribute to it, but Deca Dick is very real. I've always ran Deca very, very low, very conservatively. I have added it in, but from day one, like you said, I've just been afraid of it because of, I remember just reading guys talking about the stuff going on for weeks, not knowing what to do. Their wife, their mate, upset at them. They just can't get through with it. And I mean, I see what you're saying, and I understand adding on the provider. See, I'm a believer that you should do as little as you can do to get to where you want to go. That's why one of the first things I ask everybody who has a question is, what are your goals? What are you trying to achieve? For, again, looking good with your shirt off, in my opinion, if you can get away with it with just testosterone and do it and get to where you want to be, just do that. The least stuff you put in your body, the cheaper you make it for yourself. And even look nowadays with underground labs, the more items you add to your cycle, the more chances there are that one of them is going to be underdosed or it'll be swapped out with something else. So I believe, especially nowadays, keeping it as simple as possible. If you can get human grade test, I would just run out with that. That's all I kind of do now. It's just human grade test. And maybe I'll do a little bit of veterinary and EQ. That's what I trust now. That's all I go for. But yeah, definitely the Proviron and Deca works. Definitely everything you're saying is absolutely right. It does work. Is a good way to combat the Deca Dick. And yeah, you could run the testosterone lower in a cycle like that, just a little bit of a test base. I actually like that setup as well. Definitely. I'm keeping with what I believe in, which is you already got 2 steroids in there. You already have one more than you really need. I think you could get far with just testosterone, and you make up everything else in discipline and training and you know all those things.
Yeah, I mean, it really is a generational thing because every 60-year-old guy, 55-year-old guy in the gym, you ask them their favorite steroid of all time, it's going to be a different answer than some of the younger guys. A lot of these older guys never ran tren. You know, I don't know if you notice the same thing, Ricky V. Like you ask them, they don't know what tren is.
Well, Trenbolone was only available to these guys. Remember, before about 2003, 2004, before that age, everything was made either for pharmaceutical, human grade production, and it was approved by some governing body in some country, or it was made for veterinarian use. And for these older guys, Trenbolone was only available, I believe, from 1990 something. I think in 1996 was the last time it was available commercially for human grade, which was Parabolan out of France. Negma, I think, was the name of the company. So it was available for a very short time, and Trenbolone didn't pop its head out again until about 2000, the year 2000, 2001. This was when I was getting started using. And a guy on the forums named Animal back in the day, he figured out a way to use solvents and filters to extract the Trenbolone out of cattle pellets. These Trenbolone cattle pellets that they would implant into cattle's ears to get better yield from the beef. This guy figured out how to extract it. He was selling the kits, and you could order the Trenbolone pellets from any store online without showing any kind of ID, just a credit card, and you get these pellets at home with Trenbolone acetate in them. And then you buy a kit from this guy and extract it. So yeah, I mean, Trenbolone wasn't there's a big gap in availability in Trenbolone, and that's why a lot of the older guys don't even remember it. Even back then, it was probably among the most expensive of the steroids that you can buy. So it definitely wasn't as popular with some of the older guys as it is now. I mean, everybody loves tren nowadays. It's incredible. And a lot of people also had bad experiences with it and hate it now.
Yeah, I tell you, tren, I hit my personal records in both body weight and strength on tren. It's a hell of a steroid. But man, I don't mess with it now. I'm scared to mess with it because I do so much endurance stuff and so much stuff like cardio and stuff. I'm scared to even touch tren. So yeah, it really depends on your goal.
Tren's popular. Everybody knows about it. And some people will say, I know about tren, I'll never use it again. Or some people will say, I know about tren and I love it. I'm on the I'll never use it again realm. It was all right the first couple cycles. I didn't use a lot. And then as soon as I went above 100 mgs EOD, it started to give me pretty bad side effects. And when I used it, I used to extract the cattle pellets myself. So it would give me a really bad hardness at the depots. I'd get this hardness in the area where I injected it for days on end. So I only did a couple cycles with it. And I think my third cycle, it started to knock out my hair. So I that's it. I gave up on tren and really didn't use it again. I dabble with it, just tiny amounts on different cycles for specific reasons. But it's never been something I've ever wanted to add on again. It's just not, for my goals, it's just not worth it. And especially since it's counterproductive for bike riding and doing jujitsu and doing kickboxing, it gives me shin splints. It takes my endurance out of me. For all those reasons, I don't mess with it anymore.
Yeah, I got 3 herniated discs in my neck and I got a torn rotator cuff, and I blame tren for that because I was doing such
It'll make you strong.
weight.
I mean,
I was strong beyond like I could have ever gotten without tren. So it really
works, yeah.
Strength, but it will backfire on you if you're not careful. So don't get
it's a rough steroid. I mean, it's been linked to what is it? Alzheimer's, Parkinson's. It's been linked to.
Because the dopamine effects it has. It's got dopamine effects, and it affects your neurotransmitters. So
yeah, it's been linked, and also it's an environmental contaminant because of all the cattle get injected with this stuff and pissing it out. Apparently it's in the water systems and stuff, and it gets to fish and affects the reproductive stages. I mean, it's definitely it's out there. But yeah, no, I don't use it. It was only available for human use for a short period. Hasn't even been really used in humans for a while.
Yeah, it was available and then they banned it completely. So even if steroids were legalized in the United States, it'd still be illegal to use Tren because Tren isn't
Probably
doing great.
wouldn't get a Tren prescription. No, even if
No, it wouldn't exist. I don't think any pharmaceutical companies even produce Tren anymore anyway, worldwide. Because Negma produced it in France and they took it out. So
yeah, back in the day, they could put almost anything out, but nowadays they have to really justify it. Like, why would you really put Trenbolone out under your, like, what are you doing? When there's so many other options. So yeah, for sure.
Yeah, guys, we'll talk more about Tren on future episodes. So I really appreciate you guys listening. We're going to have a lot more user call-ins. So, check the forums and check the emails and stuff, and we'll definitely let you guys know how to call in. Right, Ricky?
Yep. If you guys are on the evolutionary.org email list and you get those emails, eventually when we are about to record a podcast, we'll send an email out letting you guys know the podcast is going to be live with a phone number and PIN code that you can use to call in and listen to the podcast live, or and also be one of the callers if that's what you wish. So we'll make it real easy for you guys to, if you have questions, to call in and talk to us and ask your questions, and we'll go into it.
All right, guys. Appreciate you guys listening again. Thanks for Jeff for calling in. It was really, really a good question. Love you guys. Keep checking out the forums. We'll talk to you guys next time. Have a good one.
Hey, guys, have a good one. Have a good night, Steve.
All right, buddy. You too.